So, hello everyone, good evening. I'm Dikshit, and I'd like to take you through the journey of designing a school for the study of social learning.
Concept statement. Library is a gateway to knowledge and it is a haven for the people to learn, think, and grow. The idea is to design a library of the school right at the heart of the school such that it could be accessed from different parts of the school. The permeability graph shown below shows the permeability relationship of the library with the other parts of the school. Knowledge is free and knowledge should be open for all. Everyone should have equal access to knowledge. So, the idea is also to create a library that could be accessed by the people belonging to the neighboring community.
Justified graphs. The justified graphs are shown aside. The school has been designed such that it offers multiple movement possibilities within its larger system so that it leads to random chance encounters between people belonging to various groups. And this is evident from the presence of higher percentage of D-type spaces, the spaces that are on multiple loops, which are shown in the justified graphs aside. Talking about the pedagogical structure, the school is based on a pedagogy that inculcates flexibility in offering different types of learning like taught learning, peer learning, and self-learning. Spatial organization determines the social structure. So the idea is to design common, participative, and interactive learning spaces. This is a 15 classroom school and each classroom seats 24 students. Collages have been made as a part of the initial design process, in order to formulate a layout for the design. This collage suggests the presence of the library at a central space of the school. The school would have like pupil zones like the terraces to engage them in peer learning. The stairs would be extended to form an amphitheater, and the admin functions over here would be placed in close proximity to the integration core of the school so that they could be easily approached. This is the site plan. The school is located actually in an existing school site called Rachna School in the old city of Ahmedabad, and the entrance to the site is direct and immediate to the road. These are the floor plans of the building, and now let's look at the specific functions, like how certain functions are placed in the system of the school. The library is an integral part of the school. It is placed at the heart of the school, as you can see from the key plan. It is a two-storage structure that could be accessed from both the levels of the building. From the ground floor, the library is accessed from the atrium and the plaza. Both the levels of the library are internally connected, and one of the unique characteristics is that this library could be accessed by the people belonging to the neighboring community. The bridge directly takes the people from outside right into the heart of the school, that is the courtyard of the library, such that they don't have to traverse the other spaces of the school to get to the library. And this light well provides uniform daylighting, sufficient daylighting throughout the library. Although visually connected to the entire school, the visitors would not be able to access the other parts of the school, and that would be regulated using turnstiles. The library is the space where the inhibitor, who's the student, who are the students, meets the visitors who doesn't form a part of the school. This signifies the fact that knowledge draws and unites people irrespective of the differences. The computer lab is also within the premises of the library so that it could be used by the community once the school gets over. And the magazine kiosk over here is used as an attractor to draw in people using the transparent facades of the library. The main reading spaces of the library are located in the first floor. It is the space for individual learning. The book racks circle the periphery of the library, and it extends till the sill level in the portions where they are glazed. Talking about the classrooms, this is the ground floor classroom cluster, which actually is an extension to the atrium. It contains classes for the grades 6 and 7. Sections of same grade share common terraces. The art room is also a part of the classroom cluster. It is based on the fact that visual permeability triggers interest, and that's why major portions of the art room are glazed. They are kept transparent. This cluster has the direct permeability relationship to the playground. The cluster is directly visible from the staff room over here as well, and it is relatively shallow from the entrance when compared to the other classrooms. This is the first floor plan of the building, and the first floor classroom cluster is directly placed above the ground floor cluster, and it contains classes for the grades 8, 9, and 10. This cluster as well is directly visible from the first floor staff room. The higher grade classrooms are tilted and centered around this part. The classrooms are grouped according to the streams. This staircase leads directly to the plaza below. These classrooms are relatively deep from the entrance, and it offers students a freedom from surveillance, like constant surveillance. The admin wing has been positioned below the library, and it could be approached from the students from the corridor leading to the canteen. All these staff functions internally lead to a private zone for staffs, and these consist of a recreation zone and a meeting zone for staffs. The rooms of the principal and the vice principal has been positioned a bit far from the atrium so that the main central space, the atrium of the school, doesn't feel intimidating. And the staff room has been positioned such that they can have an eye over what's happening in the common space. Talking about the other spaces, the canteen has been positioned below the stilted portion of the building, that is directly below the higher grade classrooms. It is a semi-open space overlooking the playground. The plaza is a paved space for students to gather, and it is visually connected to the playground through the stilted part. There is a gradual shift in the spatial nature from the closed nature of the corridors to the semi-open nature of the plaza through the stilts and the open playground. The functions like restrooms and health rooms are equally deep from the plaza as well as the atrium and could also be accessed from the playground. Coming to the first floor, there is a public terrace over here, a terrace, and it is adjacent to a space of high integration and choice, which is the amphitheater. So whoever doesn't want to be a part of the larger integrated space can recede into this space, can occupy this space. And there is also a multipurpose hall over here with retractable doors so that the activities can spill over. The sections A dash cuts through the atrium and the classroom cluster looking at the amphitheater, and it shows the social character of the amphitheater and the classroom cluster. This section cuts through the longer axis of the school, passing right through the library, atrium, and the amphitheater, facing the entrance. This is the bridge over here, which takes the people directly from outside into the library. And this section also shows the plaza and how it's connected to the playground. This section cuts through the atrium and the classroom cluster, and this faces the entrance of the library. This right here is the library. The corridor to the left has been intentionally made wider, considering the shortest routes between spaces. The section also shows the expanse of the spaces, which are double heighted, so it establishes a very good visual connection between the levels of the building. Coming to the analysis has been used hand in hand to develop and refine the plans further. Three major measures have been used for the analysis: controllability, visual integration, and permeable integration. Controllability, it actually defines the extent to which a particular space is overlooked or visually dominated. It depends on how much space could each space see. The intention actually was to achieve lower controllability values for the grades the grades 10, 11, and 12, and give them a sense of freedom from surveillance, and higher values of controllability for the grades 6 to 9. As you can see in the iteration, the lower grade classrooms are highly controllable, which is essentially due to the vast expanse of the cluster's central space. But in case of the higher grades, the corridors obviously are less in area, so the controllability values are low. In this iteration, niches have been introduced in the classrooms to create a private nook over here in each classroom, and then grade 10 classrooms have been configured so that um, they have lower values of controllability. By introducing glazing in the corner portions of the library, uh, which is essentially to increase the visual integration of the library, it caused the controllability of the higher grade classroom to increase, which was solved by the introduction of the louvers, vertical louvers. Visual integration, it describes how the spaces are visually integrated to the other spaces. The main intention was to achieve higher visual integration in the library so that it's capable of drawing people in and use the space. Initially, the courtyard of the library was made transparent, and then the openings were created in the wall facing the corridor. But what exactly helped in increasing the visual integration was the corner openings, which created longer lines of sight, and that was achieved through the analysis. As you can see, the corner openings increases longer lines of sight through the building, the library. And again, the transparency of the corner portions led to increase in the visual integration. Increase in the visual integration of the higher classrooms, and louvers were introduced to limit it. Permeable integration of a space is its relative depth with respect to all the other spaces. This is the perspective view from the atrium, the most integrated space of the school, looking into the classroom cluster. Clustering instills a sense of community in the classroom cluster. This randomly shaped courtyard breaks the cluster into a number of spaces, which should allow students to gather in several groups. The courtyard connects the cluster to the cluster that's visually above. The courtyard visually connects both the clusters, both the classroom clusters, and niches have been provided in each classroom to make the cluster more socially active. A part of the amphitheater is also shown on how the space is used. This perspective is the view from the amphitheater looking into the atrium and the library. The corners of the library wall have been rounded so that there is a gradual shift in the spatial experience while moving through. It also prevents people bumping into each other. And learning commons, a set of round tables that extend out from the library, is meant to be an attractor to draw people inside the library, and it is enclosed within the parapet wall of the like the parapet wall over here. And the massive openings of the library help in increasing the visual integration of the library, the corner openings that I talked about. Okay, this is the ISOVIST path analysis describing the journey of a student through the school and what a student would see at each node of the journey. The journey starts from the cycle bay, which is over here, which is placed atypically behind the school, and in a way to lengthen the journey to the entrance so the interaction between the students prolonged. On the way, the student heads to the learning commons to clear his doubts from one of the seniors he knows. Now the student is drawn into the magazine kiosk of the library as a result of the transparency. Then the student finally, before heading to the classroom, looks at the tag boards of the art room. The student enters the classroom. So the student now recedes into the daybed window, and this has a lower ISOVIST area. During the recess, the student heads to the canteen and finally to the amphitheater, where massive field of view is offered. These are the classroom layouts for the grade 6 to 10. The niches have been designed to enclose the cupboard as well as to create seating in the window outside. Each classroom has 3 daybed windows, and these are separated by the book racks. For grades 6 to 7, tables have been arranged in groups in a way that both peer learning as well as instructional learning could occur. For grades 8 to 10, the column layout has been used, conventional layout, to strongly support the instructional mode of learning. This is the plan perspective, which shows the measure controllability as a carpet analysis. The grades 6 to 9 have higher controllability values, and these niches over here create a private nook of lower controllability in each classroom. This is the classroom layout and carpet analysis for grades 11 and 12. They have low controllability, as I've said earlier. This has been designed such that a 11th grader would take a route through the 12th grade classroom, and this has been done to enhance chance encounters between the people belonging to both the classrooms, like both the grades. Both the classrooms have a circulation route common to them. This is the circulation route common to both the classrooms. Alongside are individual learning spaces where a junior would easily be able to spot a senior. Thanks.